Hey, this is David Osteen, pastor of Hope Bible Church in Locust Grove, Georgia, and I want to make a quick part two to my last question and answer video concerning the fact that Jesus Christ was crucified on Wednesday, April the 14th, and that he rose bodily from the grave on the first day of the week, April 18th. I got an email not long after I posted that video, and somebody was asking me to clarify because based on the way I outlined it, that he was in the tomb for 3 full days and 3 full nights, and that he walked out of the tomb at 6 p.m. on Saturday, which would be the first day of the week for the Jews, because keep in mind they mark time from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. is evening, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is day, and they go evening to morning, not morning to evening. And so he walks out at 6 p.m., that would be after the third day. And yet, the Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 15 that Christ rose from the dead the third day. And there are many verses in the New Testament that say that he would rise the third day. And so I want to clarify that. And let me say this, this has not been an exhaustive study. These question and answer videos are pretty brief. I try to be brief anyway. And you can get into a real study of the that final week when Christ was crucified and raised from the dead, and there's a lot of details and a lot of things to study in that. And it'd be if you've never studied that out, it's very interesting, and you ought to search that out and see. I just gave you some highlights and some basics, but let me say on this that yes, the Bible's very clear that he would rise the third day. And yet, there are verses that also say in Mark 8:31 that he would rise after 3 days. That's what Christ said in Mark 8:31, after 3 days. And then Mark 14:58, within 3 days. John 2:19 says in 3 days. And then in Matthew 12:40, as Jonah was in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the... As Jonah was in the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. That's 3 full days, 3 full nights. So when you look up all the references, again, it doesn't just say he will rise the third day. It says after 3 days, within 3 days, in 3 days. So, how do we clarify that? There's biblical precedent for this. There's no problem. We just need to let the Bible define its terms. And, in the Bible we see that you could say that it would be after 3 days, and that would mean the third day. Now, again, if he walks out of the tomb on 6 p.m., it's not yet. It is the first day of the week, but yet it's not the daytime yet. It's in the evening, so it's closer to that third day. You understand what I'm saying? So if that's crucial to understand. It was at 6 p.m. All right. Now in 2 Chronicles 10, verse 3, and they sent and called him. So Jeroboam and all Israel came and spake to Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous, now therefore ease thou somewhat the grievous servitude of thy father, and his heavy yoke that he put upon us, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Come again unto me after 3 days. And the people departed. All right, in the same passage, down in that was verse 5, verse 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day, as the king bade, saying, Come again to me on the third day. He said in verse 5, Come again unto me after 3 days. Verse 12, on the third day, as the king bade, saying, Come again to me on the third day. So we see in the Bible that after 3 days is equivalent with on the third day. And that's not the only place. I mean, for an example, in Esther chapter 4, verse 15, Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer, Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. So 3 full days and nights. I also, my maidens, will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. If I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. Chapter 5, verse 1, now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, and so forth. So she said, 3 days, night or day, don't eat or drink 3 days, night or day. It was on the third day. So yeah, that's right. That's the way when you study the Word of God and let the Bible define its own terms and its own expressions, there's no contradiction. And understanding it was 3 full days and 3 full nights, and yet he rose the third day. Okay? I hope that clears that up for you. And if you have any questions, just send me an email or leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching.